Okay, so in this video, I will be covering a common problem with angle grinders. Now this is Craftsman Evolve, that line, but this problem pretty much happens to all angle grinders over the course of their lifetime. And the problem is excess vibration. The reason that it vibrates excessively, this one vibrates so much that it's not even safe to use, you can't even hold on to it anymore, is, if you notice, all that free play in there? That is because the bearing on the inside is trashed. It doesn't spin perfectly in a circle anymore. It kind of spins kittywampus because it's rotating so fast. And this disc kind of, any heavy spot at all or anything will cause that side to spin a little bit out from the rest of it, and it'll just vibrate ridiculously too much. So, I'm going to show you how to fix that by replacing the bearing. Now this bearing I went out and got for about $8 at a place that rebuilds alternators and starters, so they have these tiny bearings in stock. For this model, it happens to be a 6000 RS bearing, but yours may be a different size. First things first, if you have a disc, grinding disc, cutting disc, wire wheel, whatever on it, take it off. How we do this is we push this lock button. Some of them have a lock button on the side, some of them have a lock button on the top. We just push it, rotate it until it locks, and then your grinder will come with a special tool. This is a tool for doing something on bicycles, but basically, just take it off. Unscrew that, take that off, and take that off. So this stuff we can set off to the side. That's simply for the disc. From here, we're going to take off 4 screws. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Basically, there's 4 screws around here that need to come off. These 3 screws are on here. There's a spring washer under there that would have held the guard in place. So I don't think I need to take those out, but I will if I need to. So we pop this off. This has the gear here. There is a right angle mechanism on the inside of here. This one actually has a nice worm gear type of deal, which spins on this gear here. Now as you'll see there, right in the center of the screen, there is a snap ring in there. That's that little ring with the 2 little holes in it. So either a flathead or something like that, you will need to remove this snap ring. This is an actual pair of snap ring pliers. So all we do on this is we stick the pliers in the 2 holes of this snap ring. Sometimes this can be difficult, especially if everything's spinning. Okay. So, stick it in there, spread the ring, and we'll remove that snap ring. Okay, we'll drop that down there. Okay, so now this can come off. This gear will simply pull up from here. But be careful, if you notice that there is a little square notch right there, that is because there is a key in here, a Woodruff key or a shear key, or whatever other name you know it by. So we'll pull this gear off, set it off to the side. We'll remove the key just because we don't want to lose it. We'll set it off to the side. And underneath all this grease here, there are 3 screws that actually hold the bearing and the shaft in place. So we will remove these screws. There's 1. Let's see. There's 2. And there is 3. Alright. Now, the bearing and the shaft can just come straight out. Don't think I needed to remove that ring. let me I think I might have to actually remove this ring after all. So I'll do that quick. It's kind of getting locked up on there. See, I know where all these screws go because I've fixed a zillion of these things, but it's always a good idea just to keep the screws separated so you kind of know what goes where. There we go. So that shaft comes out, that bearing's still in there, and you can either push the bearing out by hand if you want to. Otherwise, get a socket small enough to fit in there from that side and pop it out. A socket or a small piece of pipe or something like that. Now, reassembly is basically the same thing as disassembly, just in the reverse order. With your new bearing, it is imperative that you do not pound on it at any funky angles. You're very careful with it. You put it in there perfectly straight. All that good stuff, as to not mess it up the moment you get it. So very carefully from various angles, I'm just going to press it in there, and it's in. Now, slide that shaft in there, and I can put the 3 screws back in around this bearing. There's 1. This is really greasy, so it might not be a bad idea to wear gloves if you mind the grease. There's 1. Well, I've kind of given up on keeping my tools clean. I'll just wipe off the screwdriver after I'm done. There's 2, and here is going to be 3. If I can get it. Alright. There's the 3rd one that holds that bearing in place down in there. Now, this woodruff key goes in there. What you kind of want to do is lay it flat, in there, as flat as possible, so that way the gear can just slide right over. Although sometimes it doesn't really like to go. This camera is having a really hard time staying focused for some reason. Not sure why. There. There goes that gear. Actually, there not goes that gear. That key popped up. It's going to be a pain in the butt, apparently. We'll see if we can get it this time. I'll stick a screwdriver back there to kind of hold it in place. There we go. Gear's on there with the key in place. Now let's put the clip back on. It's called a snap ring. Snap ring's back in place. The snap ring keeps the shaft from sliding out that way, and this edge in here keeps this shaft from sliding out that way. Now, to simply install it, we will just put everything on the reverse order it came out. On these, there are, well, you could do it just by counting, because there's 3 of these screws, 4 of these screws. So these screws with the finer threads go in here, and the screws with the coarser threads go in the center where the guard would have been. And right now, I'm just going to put screws in, and that's basically the end of it, so no point in continuing the video.